All right, so hello everyone. Today I'm going to be doing a live stream. I'm going to be creating an Amplify project in React, and I'm going to be adding a custom authentication flow from scratch. So let's go ahead and get started and not waste any time. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a new React app using npx create React app. And I'll call this Amplify React Auth or something like that. And we'll wait for this to go ahead and install or create that new React project. And while that's installing the rest of the node modules and stuff, we'll go ahead and initialize an Amplify project in this React app. So we'll run Amplify init. And here we're just going to walk through the project environment name, the project name, the text editor, and then we're in a React project. So we should be able to just choose the rest of the default options for things like the distribution directory and the scripts and things like that. And then next we're going to be prompted for our AWS profile. So by default, if you've run Amplify configure, you should have a couple of profiles already set up. So I'm going to go ahead and just choose my default profile, which is US East 1. So I'll go ahead and change into this new Amplify React Auth directory, and I'll go ahead and install AWS Amplify. That's going to be really the only NPM dependency I think that we're going to need for this project. We're going to be kind of writing everything from scratch as far as forms and styling and stuff like that are concerned. There's not going to be really a lot of styling. I think it's more about understanding how to do stuff like state management and things like that. So I'll go ahead and open this project in my text editor. I'll try that again. And there we go. Okay, so we have our React project. We've installed AWS Amplify. The next thing I want to do is Amplify add auth. Go ahead and add the authentication to the app. And during this setup process, we're just going to take the default configuration, which is going to allow us to sign up using a username. And we're going to choose username as the sign in. And we're going to just choose no for any advanced settings. And to deploy, we'll be running Amplify push. So we will let that run in the background, and we'll jump back into the client-side project. And the first thing I'll do is I'll go into index.js. And, well, it looks like my shortcut isn't working. So we'll go ahead and import Amplify from AWS Amplify. We'll import the configuration that's located at AWS exports. This is created for you by the CLI when you run Amplify init. And then we'll just call amplify.configure, passing in the config. And now that we have that set up, I'm going to go into app.js and we're going to start writing some code. So this is going to be pretty much where everything lives. This is going to be where we have all of our forms and everything for the app. So the first thing we might want to do is import some state management hooks. So use state and use effect. from React. And then from Amplify, we're going to import the auth class, and we'll import the hub class as well, just in case we want to use that. The next thing we'd like to do is, I guess we can delete some of this boilerplate that we have here. And we'll go ahead and create a couple of pieces of state. So we'll have a form state. And we'll pass in some initial form state there. And for the initial form state, we'll go ahead and create that variable here. And from here, we'll set stuff like username, password. We'll set their email and the auth code. And in addition to that, we might also want to think of the form itself. So which form are we showing? And by default, we might want to show maybe the sign up form first or something like that. So to do that, we might say something like form type, and we'll say sign up. And this is going to let us toggle multiple types of forms. So that's the initial state, and then we have this function that's going to allow us to update the state. So what we're going to need to attach to any input handlers, so when the user is typing, we need an onChange. So let's go ahead and create an onChange handler. And this is going to get receive an event. And what we're going to then do here is we're going to call update form state. And what we'll do, I guess, for now is we will go ahead and return the existing form state. And then we're going to pass in like a key value pair of the event.target.name and the event.target.value. So the event name is going to be like the name, of course, of the input, and the value is going to be the value of them typing. So for example, what we can do now, using what we have now, is we can destructure the form type. And we can basically now say if the form type is sign up, then we can show the sign up form. So we'll do that here, and the sign up form is just going to be a couple of inputs and a button, I guess. So we'll have an input for username. We'll also have an input for the password. And we might set this to be type of password. And the last one we're going to do is email. And then we're going to have a button that says sign up. And what we want to do now is basically we can duplicate this form across sign in. And let me make sure that sign up is proper. It looks like we need to be an uppercase U, and I'll continue that here with an uppercase N. So to sign in, all we're going to need is the username and the password, so we don't need email there, but we will set this to sign in. And we also need to confirm sign in, or confirm sign up, I'm sorry. So when they sign up, we're going to need to do an MFA, like a multi-factor authentication. And all they need here is the auth code. And I think that's the value that we used, auth code. And we'll call this confirmation code or something like that. So, and this is going to be confirm sign up. And then the last form state that we're going to have is going to be if the user is signed in and they are authenticated. So this is going to assume like the user is signed in. We might just say, hello world, welcome user. So we have four main pieces of state, form state. We have when they are signing up. So we're showing the sign up form, when we're showing the sign in form and the confirm sign up. And we might even place the confirm sign up under the sign up just to kind of be, in the right order where they're signing up, then they're confirming, then they're signing in, and then they are signed in. So it's going to kind of like waterfall from the top to the bottom of our code. And then what we need to do is create some functions to actually attach to those buttons. So we need a sign in or sign up, let's start off with. We need a sign up. We need a confirm sign up. And we need a sign in. So for sign up, what we want to do is we want to use that form state and we want to destructure the username, email, and password. And we're going to await auth.signup. We'll pass in the username, password, and then we pass in attributes. Actually, this needs to be like this. And in the attributes, we're going to pass in the email. And then what we want to do is update the form state to toggle from sign up to confirm sign up. So we might say we want the form type to now be confirm sign up. So if that makes sense, we're going to be signing up and then we're going to be toggling the form state once they've successfully signed up. And then we're going to say confirm. And here we're going to be taking in the email, the username and the auth code. And we're going to call auth.confirmSignup, passing in the username and the auth code. And I'm actually going to double check the documentation to make sure I have this this API right. So I'm going to go to Authentication. Yeah, it looks like username and then code. Okay, perfect. So we have confirmed sign up. And the next step is we want to sign them in. So we'll create one last function, and we can maybe copy a couple of these lines of code actually and modify them here. So here we need the auth code and the password. I'm sorry, we need the username and the password. And we're going to call auth.signin, passing in the username and the password. And for the form type, we want to say signed in if this is successful. And just to double check that I got all this right, I'll go ahead and pull up the docs again and look at sign up. So username, password, attributes, email, confirm sign up. We got that. Sign in. We're passing in the username and the password. Okay, cool. It looks like we got all this right. So now we can attach the methods to the buttons. So we can say on click. And we're going to update this form state to be signed in. And we are good to try to test this out. I believe we're not really using use effect right now, but we will in just a moment. Okay, let's go ahead and try this out and see what happens. So I'm going to run npm start. Got to check Twitter, you know what I'm saying? Since we have all this time. Sent out some really funny tweets today. You should check them out. Today being every day. All right, so our React app finally loads. And I'll go ahead and inspect to kind of see if we have any errors or anything. We don't have any errors yet. So let's go ahead and try this out. So I'm going to sign up. And I'm going to check my email to see if my confirmation code came in. And it looks like I've signed up successfully, so we're going to go ahead and try to sign in. And there we go, we're signed in. So we went through this whole authentication flow. Our user information is actually stored in the local storage. But if we refresh, we're going to be signed out again. So let's try that out. Looks like we're signed back out. So let's persist that user information. And the way that we're going to do that is we are going to create a user state in our app. So we're going to say const user update user. It's equal to use state. And we're going to just pass in null for now. And we're going to use the use effect hook here. And here we're going to call a function called check user that we'll create next. And here we'll throw in like a try catch block. And what I want to do is I want to go ahead and say const user is equal to awaits auth.current authenticated user. And then I'm going to update user passing in the user. And then in the catch block, I'm going to say update user null. We don't really have to do anything there though. We could just actually leave that empty if we want. So let's go ahead and save this and refresh. And let me log out this user. Looks like we're signed in. So all we have to do at this point is we will call update form state because we know that we have that user. And I can actually just copy this line of code from sign in, because it's going to be the same. So if we save that, then we see that we're signed in. The next thing we might want to do is add a sign out button. So in our main UI where we're already signed in, let's make this a div. Say sign outs. And what we're going to do is call auth.signout. But what you're going to notice is that this is not going to change the form state, because at least my guess isn't, because we're not really changing anything. We're just signing the user out. So we'll have to refresh again for this to work. So we sign out, but we're still there. If we refresh though, the user now is signed out. Another thing we might want to do is have a button to toggle between signing up and signing in, because we might want to say, okay, if we see the sign up form, we might want to just be able to sign in if we're already a user. So in this function, we're going to just say update form state. And what we want to do is set the form type sign in. So now we can go ahead and sign in. And now we're here. We have our whole flow going. But I just wanted to go back to this code because I kind of toggled away from it too quickly. But all we're doing is just updating the form state manually to kind of show that sign in button and allow us to do that. So what we need to do now to finish this off is we need to connect the sign out, or all of these different events essentially, into maybe some listener. So we don't actually have to manage all of this ourselves. We can just have this listener that will do everything for us. So for example, when we do this call here, even we might be able to handle that in the listener. So in the use effect hook, we might have a function called like set auth listener or something like that. And what we're going to do in this auth listener function is I'm going to go to the Amplify guides under authentication and listening for authentication events. And I'm just going to kind of copy this code here. And then I'll kind of walk through some of what's going on. But what we're going to be doing is listening for this auth event by calling hub.listen. And the two that we're going to be looking for are sign in and I guess sign out. So sign out. So let's just go ahead and save those. And what we want to do in this sign out method is we basically want to update the form state. So I might copy and paste this and say something like update form state signed out. And I might take this code. Well, actually, that's not going to be an event because they're already signed in. So we're going to have to leave that there to continue working. But for the sign out button, we'll just use that for the listener for now. And for the default case, I'll just throw something there. I'm not sure if I kind of messed that syntax up a little bit. But anyway, what should happen now is when we sign out, this listener should trigger, and maybe we can even console.log the data from event. Take a look at that data. Go ahead to this, clear it out, and sign out. And now we see the data from the event. And I have a bug somewhere because it just cleared out all of the state. So I'm guessing I misspelled something here. But oh, I need to, yeah, signed out is not a state that we're handling. I need to set it to sign up. Yeah. So let's try that one more time. Sign in. refresh. We're still signed in. Sign out. We get back to the form. That's it. That's all we had to go over today. That's all I kind of wanted to cover. That's really the bread and butter to kind of getting up and running with a custom authentication flow. Of course, you want to take this design that we have and make it look nicer. But as far as the actual logic is concerned, the functionality, handling user state, user management, all that stuff, form state, we did all of that within a fairly short amount of time, starting from scratch. So I would say that if you're interested in creating like a more sophisticated user interface or design, you have all this functionality ready to roll, and you can then take this and kind of do what you'd like with it and probably have something decent looking within a few hours, which is pretty powerful. So I hope you enjoyed this stream, and follow me on Twitter at Dabbit3 if you're interested in seeing more of these types of things, and follow me on YouTube. Thank you so much.